Being based in India and with flights getting cheaper than ground transportation, I realized a lot of people are going to fly for the first time. It's amazing more and more people are getting easier access to long distance travel. However, especially if you're traveling alone, it can be a challenging experience. So to prepare everyone who is going on their first flight adventure, I made this video so you know what to expect and what the best way is to prepare. As a professional travel vlogger, I've taken more flights in my life than I can count, so I've also included some pro tips for seasoned travelers at the end. More of my videos on foreigner travel in India are linked down in the description below. If you'd like to see more in the future, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon for notifications. Let's jump right into it. The first thing that you need to think about when you're flying for the first time is obviously your luggage. And there are two things that are important. First of all, that your luggage is not overweight. On most international flights, you will get a complimentary luggage weight limit of 20 kgs of check-in luggage. And the weight limit for your carry-on luggage will usually be between 7 and 10 kilos. The second thing that you have to think about, which is specific for your check-in luggage, is that there are no forbidden items in your luggage. Most of the forbidden items are quite self-explanatory, like no flammable liquids or those kind of things, and also no weapons. Some things that are not obvious though are batteries and portable chargers for your mobile phones. Those are also not allowed in your check-in luggage. You can check the weight limit when you are booking your ticket. Usually it will be there, or if you already booked the ticket, it will usually be in your confirmation. The next thing that might come up when you arrive at the airport is, how am I going to carry all of this luggage around? Because it's quite heavy, right? Well, good news, there are these huge big trolleys which are free of charge. You can just grab one, press the handle down, put your luggage on it, and you are ready to go. Especially for me, because I'm traveling alone all the time, this is so useful because I don't have to use one hand for one suitcase, the other one for my carry-on, and then I also have a handbag and I also carry food. So these trolleys are such a lifesaver. If you are flying for the first time in India, please do know that your family, relatives, or the people who brought you to the airport are not allowed inside the airport terminal if they are not passengers. Before you come inside, there will already be a security check, so please keep your passport and your boarding pass ready. By now, you're probably wondering, how do I get this boarding pass? Well, first of all, you could check in online. Most airlines will send you an email before departure where they allow you to check in online, and sometimes they will also let you pick a seat, so it's definitely worth looking into that. They will send you an online boarding pass, which you can print at home, or you can check in at the airport. If you don't have a printer, please don't panic. There are also machines at the airport where you can do a self-check-in. They're pretty self-explanatory, and if you still have issues with them, there's also staff around who can help you with that. This machine in general will print a boarding pass for you, so don't worry about that. If this doesn't work out, you can also show the security guard your flight ticket. So the email that you got, you need to store it on your phone and show them. In case you don't have a smartphone, yes, that is also possible. What you could do is take a picture of the email, the confirmation email, and just show that picture to the security guard. The security guards in front of the airport terminal really need to know if you're a passenger, so a boarding pass will usually do the trick, or a picture of your flight confirmation. That will also give them enough proof that you are actually a passenger and they're allowed to let you into the terminal. Now that you made it into the terminal, the first thing that you want to do is walk up to this big board. What you need to do is check your flight number, which is printed on your boarding pass. That's why the boarding pass is the most convenient thing to have with you. The easiest way to find your flight on that big board of information is your flight time, and then your flight number, and then your destination. At the end of the row, it will show you numbers. These are the check-in counter numbers. When you look around in the terminal, you will see quite big boards saying check-in counter 1 to 10, check-in counter 20 to 30, so those kind of things. So once you know your check-in counter, you know to which check-in counter you should go to drop off your luggage. I personally do not understand the advantages of online check-in apart from sometimes getting to choose your seat, because when you arrive at the check-in counter, you will probably still have to stand in line to drop off your luggage, even if you're already checked in online. But that's okay, just stand in line and drop your luggage. The first thing that the staff usually is going to do is weigh your luggage to see if you are below the weight limit, and they will also check your boarding pass, or if you still don't have a boarding pass, they will print a boarding pass for you over there. Now that you got rid of your check-in luggage, it is time to go through immigration. Especially for international flights, you will always have to go through immigration. It is not allowed to use your cell phone phone here or your camera. Keep your passport and your boarding pass ready, and the immigration officer will take care of the rest. Once you pass immigration, it is time for security checks. And this is my most hated part of traveling, but we all just have to accept it because we all want to be safe on a flight, right? In India, it is very common to have men and women separated during security check. Just follow the signs and go to the appropriate security check row. For your carry-on luggage, it is very important that you do not bring any liquids with you which are more than 100 milliliters. Creams are also included into liquids, so please keep that in mind. People usually mess up with water bottles, but unless it is 100 milliliters, you will not be allowed to take that with you. What I usually do is I take an empty water bottle and I refill it after the security checks. If you are carrying a laptop, you will have to take it out. You will usually also have to take off any belts, scarves, jackets, sometimes even a watch. I'm carrying one right now because those will set off the alarms. Usually jewelry, you don't have to take it off, but sometimes they will send you back if it is setting off the alarms. They have these big containers where you can put all your valuables in, and especially if you're traveling in India, keep your passport and your boarding pass with you. The reason why you need to have it with you is when they are doing a security check, they will have to stamp your boarding pass as proof that you went through security check. Once you're done with the security check, you can breathe again. This was all the hard work that you have to do before a flight. Honestly, sometimes it can be exhausting, it can be very stressful. The airlines will always ask you to be at the airport at least 2 or 3 hours before your flight. And especially if you're traveling international, I would highly recommend you to be at the airport at least 3 hours before your flight departs. The reason for this is that the check-in of your luggage, immigration, and the security check sometimes can take up a lot of time, and you can actually miss your flight if you're not at the airport on time and still doing all of these things while your flight is departing. I've never missed a flight because of this, but it has caused me a lot of stress in the past when I arrived at the airport just too late, and then everything is just so stressful. This is the worst part. Oh my gosh. Okay. Hashtag pray for the flight. Leaving for the airport. You know what the ETA is? Estimated time of our arrival? 8:30. Do you know what time my flight leaves? 9:30. Not a chance we're gonna catch this flight. Not a chance. Seriously, this is not even joking. I am an idiot. I am an absolute idiot. Yo, this cost me 10 years of my life. But guess who's getting on a flight? You're getting on a flight. She's getting on a flight. He's getting on a flight. I'm getting on a flight. We're going to go. It's a lot of work to get through all of these checks. So please take into account that you also need quite a lot of time in order to board your flight calmly. However, usually once you went through all of the checks, it is time to find out what your boarding gate is. For this, you will also want to find one of those big information boards. Find your flight on there, and it will usually say boarding gate at the end. So the number behind your flight now is not the check-in counter anymore. It is your boarding gate, which is the gate where you will actually enter your airplane. Usually, however, you will be done with all the checks at least 30 minutes before your flight starts boarding. So you will have to wait around in the airline lounge like this. While you're waiting for your flight, it might be extremely tempting to get something to drink or maybe something to eat. Obviously, if you don't mind spending a lot of money, you should definitely do that. But what I can tell you is that the food and drinks at the airport are very, very expensive. Now, actually, I am sitting at a restaurant. Just the tea here is 159 rupees. Quite a common price in the West, but for Indian standards, where a tea will usually cost you like maybe 50-60 rupees, this is really, really expensive. What you want to do is bring an empty water bottle with you, because there are usually these taps with drinking water, and you can just fill your water bottle after all of the security checks. And what I also always do is bring food with me. Whenever I'm traveling, I am always bringing some food with me. Let me just show you. As long as it's dry goods, you are allowed to bring food with you on the flight. An airline cannot refuse you this, especially for some people who have diet restrictions. So I usually bring popcorn with me. What else do I have? I have muruku here, which are like savory biscuits. And then I have some other Serbian snacks. Again, some biscuits. Anything that is dry, you can bring it with you. But do keep in mind that, for instance, if you have like something creamy like yogurt, you are not allowed to bring that with you. They will take that at a security check. A lot of airports are silent airports, so you will need to keep track of time yourself. There will not be an announcement that your flight is boarding in general. So just keep a track on the time. You will have to be at the boarding gate when the boarding time starts. This will usually be at least 30 minutes before your actual flight departs, because obviously they also need some time to get all the people on board of the flight. At the gate, they will again check your passport and your boarding pass to see if you're actually allowed to get on the flight as a passenger.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you.
On your boarding pass, they will actually also have your seat number printed. And the seat numbers are usually a number and a letter. So for instance, my seat right now is 21A. In the airplane, you will have rows of seats. The number is the number of the row and the letter is the letter of your seat. What you have to do is find your row and then sit on the letter of your seat. When you're sitting in your seat, you will usually have to put all your carry-on luggage underneath the seat in front of you and follow all the safety instructions. Especially if you're flying for the first time, please pay attention to the security instructions because they are very important. Even if you're traveling for the millionth of time, I still do pay attention to the security instructions because sometimes they are different for the airplane that you're flying. There are a lot of different airplanes and different airplanes require different safety instructions. Now you can relax. Before you depart, your captain will probably make an announcement on where you're going, what the weather is like, and what the weather is like at your destination.
Together with the rest of the crew, a very warm welcome from all to a 565 service shortly departing from Dubai. We're almost ready to go, so waiting for the last of the passengers to board and the last of your baggage to be loaded into the hold. And once that's done, we'll close the doors, push back, make our way out to runway 27 here in Bangalore. If you'd like to follow the progress of today's flight, you can do so on the information channel of the entertainment screen.
If you're flying for the first time, I can imagine this might be such an exciting moment. It's been a long time for me when I took my first flight. I think I was 16. But at the same time, I can imagine it must be terrifying for some people. I would highly recommend you, however, to refrain from any drinking or any calming medication because that might compromise your safety. This is the reason why most flight accidents happen within the first 3 minutes of departure and the last 8 minutes of the landing. If you are drinking or taking some calming medicines, you might not be clear enough in your head if anything happens to, save yourself. So please don't drink or take any calming medicines. Something that is very easy to fix are clogged ears. If you're experiencing any pain or pressure while the plane is going into the air, you can close your nose, take a deep breath, and just try to press the pressure out of your ears. You can also drink some water because the swallowing will also open up your ears. Or something that really helps with me is yawning. So even if it's fake yawning, it will still open up your ears. During the flight, you can try to sleep, you can read a book, or you can watch maybe some things that hopefully this will make the time pass really fast. And before you know it, you will be at your destination. Some pro tips that I want to give you. Airplanes and airports can be extremely cold or extremely hot. So it is very advisable to always carry some kind of scarf with you and layer with your clothes. As you can see, I'm also wearing a jacket, even though it is hot here in India. And I really prefer to wear loose trousers because these are warm enough, but at the same time, they are also cool enough if it is too hot. One final tip is to not wear flip-flops because that is quite dangerous. If anything happens during the flight, let's say, for instance, the plane catches fire, your feet will be completely exposed, and when you have to get outside, you will be in flip-flops. I prefer to wear flats because they are easy to get off once I get on the flight and I want to get comfortable, but they are also very easy to put on if I, for instance, want to go to the washroom. If you're wearing sneakers, you will have to tie your laces all the time, which is annoying. Welcome to Dubai, guys. When you get out of the airplane, obviously you will have to go and get your luggage. But before you do that, you have to go through the immigration. This is unfortunately always mandatory when you're traveling international. Just follow the signs. They will point you to your baggage claim area and also to the immigration. When you get to immigration, just follow the instructions of the immigration officer, and then you will arrive in the baggage area. In the baggage area, there will be another huge sign with a lot of numbers and times. Again, you will look up the time of your flight, the arrival time, the flight number of your flight, and then it will show you a baggage belt where you can pick up your luggage. Please, again, grab one of those trolleys because there's no need to lug around with your luggage when those trolleys are already there. If I can please ask you one final thing, especially if you are a younger person, please take care of elders. I just ran into a lady, a very elderly lady, I think she was in her 80s, who didn't know how to lock the door of the washroom. She didn't know how the automatic flushing worked. For elders, this is like a whole new world with flying and everything. It's definitely worth it to just look after them. Children are usually with their parents, so they manage, but elders, especially when they're traveling alone, I always feel compelled to help them because I would have wanted that for my grandparents too. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, make sure to put a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more of my videos in the future, make sure to subscribe to my channel and click the little bell icon for the notifications whenever I publish new videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!